What's going on, guys? This is Matei with Tech Vitamins, and today I'm doing a video on the Mbox Pro Generation 3. We had a request from one of our subscribers to do a review on this, to tell you guys how I'm using it and what I think about it so far. I've had this for about 3 months, and I've moved up from it was the Mbox 2, the older DigiDesign, blue interface, and I've also upgraded to Pro Tools 9 with it. So that was definitely a big help, and I'll tell you why once we get to the setup of the interface. But let's take a look at the hardware real quick. We see that in the front we got input 1 and 2, which it has 4 total, and you can see 3 and 4 up front, the knobs, the gain knobs, which you can control from the front, but the inputs are actually in the back. But the cool thing about the front ones is that you can put both a 1/4-inch cable in there for like a guitar or bass, or you can put an XLR cable for the mic, and phantom powered or not. So going further, we got LED lights, which are a pretty nice feature that I like. I'll show you how they work in a second. They basically monitor the level of your inputs once you put them in. We got the 48-volt phantom power button, which turns this on. The multi button right here can be hooked into many different functions of Pro Tools, at least, and I'll show you how to do that in the driver software that came with this. But you could set up many different options which work with Pro Tools 8 LE or 9, I believe, of course 7.4 as well. The mono button right here will route the output channels into one mono channel, basically. So if you're using 2 speakers for left and right and you hit that, it's going to route the mono signal equally into each speaker. Now the speaker button right here can toggle between the 6 different combinations of channels. We got the output channels in the back, and you have to set that up in the driver's software as well. I'll show you how to do that. And of course we have the master volume right here, which controls the speakers, and we have headphone jack A and B, which is very useful for me now because I route separate set of headphones from jack B into the booth for the artist or the performer to hear the music, and I can control the levels separately from my levels when we record. And then of course I don't have to switch anything out or input the speakers in the back just to hear what the mix sounds like after we record it, little bits and pieces. I can just turn these down and turn my monitors up. I'm using the Rocket 6 monitors, and also I'll be telling you how I'm using my preamp for the mic, because I'm not going to be using the gain buttons actually on the interface once I have the preamp in there. But let's, I guess, talk about these buttons. The front and rear, it switches the inputs, because we have line input 1 and 2 as well. This is the soft limiter. It basically attenuates, it acts as a limiter and has its own DSP in the unit. So it'll increase, turn up the volume a little bit on whatever input is going in there. It would act just like a limiter plugin that you could set in Pro Tools. For channels 3 and 4, because they're in the back, you can switch between the mic and the line, because again the mic inputs are right here and the line inputs will be right there for 3 and 4. And you also notice we have plus 4 dB and negative 10 dB switch right here, which actually means, or at least the manual says, that if you're going to be inputting unbalanced inputs into here, then turn it to negative 10, and if it's balanced, let it be on plus 4. So just remember that. One cool thing that you probably will not know unless you read the manual is that you can attenuate the sound by 20 dBs if you pull out these knobs and you hear a little click or pop sound. And basically, if the signal that you're routing into your channel is too hot and you have it turned all the way down, let's say, and it's still real hot, then you can go ahead and pull that out. It'll continue again the signal by 20 dBs. Let's see what else is notable in the front. Let's move to the back real quick. We also have our auxiliary RCA inputs, as well as an 1/8 inch, so you can plug your iPod in there, whatever you want. We got our 2 FireWire outputs here. Note that this does run on FireWire, not on USB, so it requires a separate DC output. And there's a power switch, a foot switch, which I don't have right now, the MIDI plug-in, the plug that I can plug my MIDI into it. And these outputs 1 through 6 are for monitors. So what you can do is either set up separate, main outs 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and again toggle with the speaker button between the 3 different combinations, or you can set all these up together coming out at once, and that's useful for surround sound at 5.1, for example, or any other surround sound configuration. The inserts right here are used for analog interfaces like compressors and equalizers that you want to route into the device before the signal is processed through. And even though it says it has DSP on it, it's only for the reverb or the internal effects that are in the unit. It doesn't do digital sound processing in the unit itself like some of the HD interfaces do. So the Pro Tools still has to do it, so you would still have to have a fairly fast computer. Now the reason I got this is because it supports sample rates up to 192 kilohertz. So far as I'm concerned, if your computer's fast enough to handle this, and your computer's running Pro Tools 9 and has the delay compensation, automatic delay compensation already on it, in my opinion, you pretty much have the HD interface. Now, even though I did record few tracks in 192 kilohertz, I don't think there's a need for it now that I've played with it. The wave files end up being too big, but I do continue to record all my music now at 96 kilohertz, which this thing supports with no problem. So let's hook it up real quick, and I'm going to hook in my preamp into it as well, and let's check out the control panel that comes with the driver for this unit on the computer and what you can do with it. One thing to note, that when it turns on, you see the faders coming in and out, and if this LED blue is on and it doesn't flicker, that means that your world clock has synced in with the application. It recognizes that you're running Pro Tools that's going to basically be able to operate this. So now let's take a look at the control panel. The way to access it is through control panel, hardware and sound, and we have Avid Mbox Pro. And here we see that we're running channel 1 and 2. Now, in the setup, it tells you that you can select the sample rate, the clock source, buffer size, and so forth. And these are my settings currently. Now, if you disable the host control, that means that you're going to have to operate this hardware by itself through this control panel. Now, Pro Tools 9 or other versions of Pro Tools basically control this device with their software. So that's what I use personally. I run everything through Pro Tools. So I'm going to show you in a second. Let me launch Pro Tools real quick, and I'm going to show you how this changes when I change it internally in Pro Tools. So let's give it a few minutes and wait for Pro Tools to load. I'm going to go ahead and also turn on my preamp right here. And you see as I'm clapping, the little fader on there is already showing you how loud the sound is, which is another way to monitor the input when it's coming in during the recording. But actually, everything I'm going to be doing during the recording, I'm monitoring through Pro Tools. So, I've really just got this interface to be able to record at higher sample rates, and the fact that it now pretty much allows you to input up to 8 channels in it, and you can record all at the same time. And the Mbox 2 only had 2 channels, So this is, a big step up, and the price is not too bad either, especially for being able to record 192 kilohertz and all the improvements that Avid has done with this interface. Alright, we got Pro Tools up, so let's quickly open a session. Let's open one of our templates that I set up. And what I'm going to show you here is what I was talking about earlier, that the sample rate and the buffer size, I'm going to be setting that through Pro Tools. I'm not going to be using the control panel that came with the hardware. Even though, I mean, you would use that if you're using other softwares that are compatible with this unit, but do not provide all the controls for it. So, for example, right now we saw that we had it at we had a 48 kilohertz. Because I just opened up a 48 kilohertz template, and if I set it to 96, it's not actually going to let me. Now watch, this will change if I simply go into setup here, playback engine, 1024, click OK. See, now that's going to update, so we have that done. And let me show you how to update the sample rate. So if I go to new session and I use one of my templates that I have for 96 kilohertz, you don't have to save that. As soon as it opens up, let's just call it everything 96. And now go back to my panel, and you see that the sample rate is at 96 kilohertz. Buffer latency is at 1024, because again, that's exactly what Pro Tools is going to have. Now, through this interface, you can decide how you're going to set up your mix and which channel is going to be basically outputting what or inputting what signal. But again, because this is this is basically built for Pro Tools, I'm going to be controlling all of this through the input output menu here. And you see that we already have it up, so if I want, for example, both headphones A and B to run through the same signal, I'll move my 3 and 4, so left and right here. Same thing with input, because the way I have it set up, if you see on video, and the way I have it set up is that the preamp is going into channel 3, because I don't want to have cables in the front of this unit. So what I had to do is, when I went to analog 3 and 4, I had to name the first third input as the mic. So when I want to record enable a track, let's do one of these. It's already set to mic, and again, that's my channel 3. I can record enable it, and you see when I clap, the faders are moving in both Pro Tools and on the interface. So it's a good combination to have. Now, I just got the update for Pro Tools, which the new update is 9.0.5, and I'm hoping that it fixed an issue that I read on the forums that the Mbox 3 Pro had, which was that it didn't display clipping, meaning that if I was to record a strong signal in here, neither Pro Tools nor the interface would actually get into the clip LED marker, which would have been at all the way up to red. Let me turn up the preamp real quick so you can actually hear the sound. And okay, now it actually perfect. So just to confirm, the error has been fixed. Now the Mbox Pro, I'm sorry, 3rd generation, does show you the clipping on here. Another quick thing I want to mention about the control panel here is that you can set your effects, which all of mine are turned down currently, but you have different reverb effects for the unit, which are internally processed through here. But again, I don't really use that feature because I like to put all my plugins in through Pro Tools. So hopefully this quick review on the unit helped out. I love it so far. I wouldn't use anything else, and again, as far as I'm concerned, I pretty much have Pro Tools HD because of the sample rate it can handle, even though I don't have to pay thousands of dollars for one of their higher interfaces, and the preamp that I have basically turned my $300 mic into a $2,000 sounding mic. And by the way, it's the Universal Audio, the Twin 710 Infinity, which has a both solid state and a tube amp, and you can switch between it back and forth with this knob, and it's just amazing. And another thing I wanted to mention is that you see that the phantom power on my unit is turned off on the Mbox Pro because the phantom power is turned on the preamp, and that's all you need. Is whatever the mic is hooked into that needs the phantom power is what needs to be powered, and the Mbox Pro just simply takes the input through whatever channel you input it. So again, hopefully this helps. If you have any other questions, definitely post it in comments or shoot me an email. I'll be happy to either do a video response or answer any of the questions that you guys might have. And please subscribe so we can again do some of the requests that I've been getting, and some of the tutorials that I've been putting out come from requests. So please subscribe. That way I can give you guys what you need. Thanks for watching.